Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Insaka Talk Show. We're excited to have you and to be in your home. In case you've forgotten, today is Father's Day.
Yep.
Special day. Father's Day. Well, in the studio with me is these wonderful, beautiful, amazing ladies. We've got Miss Irene White from Chicago. We've got Miss Priska Van Vestas Chira from Baltimore. And we've got Nelly Madatila right here from Dallas. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I am so excited. Guess who's in the house? My beautiful daughter, Kezia Mapalo Blessing Mostoma from Fort Worth, Texas. So, ladies, what are we up to today? How are we going to celebrate fatherhood?
I feel like we're celebrating already because you're already bringing us evidence of your fatherhood. Huh? Evidence. In case it was like, are you sure? Yes. She is right there. Thank you, Kezia, for joining us in the studio today. We are so glad you are here.
I'm so happy to be on here. I watch y'all show, so this is exciting.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome to the Insaka Talk Show, my love.
So beautiful. Welcome to the Insaka Talk Show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So on this Father's Day 2023, our title for the show today is The Power of a Father's Love. We're going to explore the power of a father's love and the impact that has in one's life as a child looking up to a father. But before we do that, we do have some trending topics, right? Priska, you want to share with us some trending topics? Or we do have one major one.
An icebreaker?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I forgot.
Let's break the ice before we get to the trending topics.
Take it away. So the icebreaker for today is, what do you appreciate about your parents or those who raised you?
Should I answer?
Go ahead.
Sure.
I appreciate those that told me that I'll never amount to anything. Because guess what? I am 10 times better than what they thought that I would be. And there's one specific relative that told me, oh, you won't be anything. You won't get married. You will not have children. You will not. And she had a daughter that behaves exactly the same things that she wished me that I would be. So I appreciate the ones that told me that I'll never be anything because I am somebody and something.
Amen, girl.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what are you saying?
What I was saying is, I was on mute. I couldn't resist that. If you are listening, she is somebody.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, one thing about me is tell me that you cannot do something, then I will prove you wrong. Or you don't know something, I'll learn that thing and I'll learn it better than you and teach you about it. That's one thing about me. So I like a good challenge. So thank you.
Yeah.
Nelly.
Yeah, so for me, I think one thing I do appreciate is they taught me the power of humanity, Ubuntu. You know, like just looking out for other people and loving people for who they are. Just the power of Ubuntu for me, I think, is what my parents taught me.
That's a good
parents, grandmother. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Irene, what about you?
I'll say generosity. It's similar to what you're saying, Nelly. I had parents that would take in a distant relative in the house and treat them so well and tell you to wait as a child. They'll say, they're just visitors. They'll go. But you are here forever. So now that they're visiting us, let's show them love and everything that we believe in this house. Let's show them so that as they go, they will have good memories that Nadia Kuliwachite, this is how they embraced my visit. That's what my dad used to do. So generosity was a big thing in our household. And I think I love the fact that I took it from them.
That's a good one.
What about you? Yeah.
Yes. I think one thing I can appreciate about my parents is, especially with my dad, is his ability to connect with others and build like really strong relationships. I see that a lot with my dad's students and family members, and so that's something that I look up to. Yeah, his ability to connect with others and stay in touch as well, and the value of friendship and planting a seed and watering it. Checking up on people. That I really appreciate that about my dad. That's something that I do better as well.
It's so true though.
Doc, he did a good job.
Yeah.
And let's hear from the proud dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you appreciate about your parents?
Well, Kezzy, thank you so much for sharing what you just shared. That's important to me. I think the legacy I would love to leave with y'all when it's all said and done is that you love and live well. That you love and live well. That's important to me. From my parents, I think it's a common theme here that's carrying on as well. The whole idea of generosity. I remember when I was in about 5th grade, I asked my father for a BMX bicycle. All the European kids had BMX bicycles, all the expat kids had BMX bicycles, and a few lucky Zambian kids whose parents traveled like overseas. But I wanted one so badly, Irene, and guess what? I'll never forget this. My father bought me an orange flying pigeon Chinese bicycle with tassels. With tassels. It had tassels. Yes, it had tassels. And I still remember, Kezia. I'm like, seriously? BMX? Flying pigeon? Yeah, orange too, with tassels.
With tassels.
Yes. It was a bicycle.
Hey, it wasn't for me. It was like 2 points out the window. But one thing, Nelly, I remember, Priska, and I remember from that is how I went to Dad. And Dad said, no, in this home, we take care of everybody. So this is the best that you could have given everybody that we have to support. And I think that has been a seed, as Kezia said. I think that's been a seed that I've taken from that generosity. So, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. So moving on, we are going to now talk about the trending topics. And really the trending topic for this week is one huge one, obviously, apart from the fact that it is Father's Day.
Yeah.
Thank you. And why do we even need a trending topic when the day is itself a trend?
Well, there is one father out there who is making headlines, actually making history, right?
Yes.
So
Taking the world.
Yes. Tyler Perry purchased, BET Studios, which is also owned by VH1. So in essence, he owns BET and VH1, for the first time, completely owned by a Black person. That is, and Monday is Juneteenth, in time for Juneteenth. That's big news. That's big news.
That's massive.
You're going to be watching the Insaka Talk Show on BET.
Wow.
As it should. January 2024 Insaka will premiere on BET. And we'll be moving our studios to Atlanta, Georgia.
Exactly.
Speaking to it. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah. All right. So community news. I'm not sure if you have any in your areas, Irene and Priska, but I do have some here.
I do not.
Well, Oza is actually Chicago is hosting. Yeah, Chicago is hosting the Oza Independence celebration. We are very, very excited. We are hoping we can beat Dallas in the hospitality circles. So I have sleepless nights. I cannot lie to you. I've acquired some more gray hair because all eyes
last week.
All eyes are on me. Are you kidding? Do you know what that means? I know my city very well. It's very expensive. So if I have to plan, I have to do something very nice. So yeah, Oza is coming to Chicago. We're very, very happy. And we appreciate all the people that voted in.
Do we have a date?
Yeah, it's October 28th.
Yeah.
And Irene, I think for the people that are listening, people might not be aware of what Oza is. I think it might be helpful to
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're right. So OZA is the Organization of Zambians Abroad. So the beauty about OZA is you don't really have to be a member of an association. You can be a member of an association in your state, but still be a member of OZA. Like I'm the president of Chicago, Zach, the association in Chicago. I still sit on the executive team on OZA. So like I have the best of both worlds. So in this case, it'll be an advantage for me because then I can feed my people with the correct information directly from OZA because I know what's happening and what's been talked about or what's been tabled.
Well,
That's fantastic. We can't wait. In Dallas, community news, we do have the Hats and Heels Tea Party that will be hosted by the Association of Zambians in DFW. The women leadership will be hosting that. And of course, you will see beautiful young ladies like my daughter and Kezia who will be there as our beautiful ushers and mingling with the older ladies so they could learn a nugget or two of wisdom. I'm excited about that. So please, if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, make sure you purchase your ticket. There will be endless cups of tea, endless cups of coffee, endless glasses of mimosa. Come one, come all. It's going to be in Dallas at the Holiday Inn Express and on July 29th, starting at 12 o'clock. So please get your tickets. We will be glad to have you.
Nice.
So I think it's time for a little commercial break so that when we come back, we now dig into the meat of the conversation. What do you all think?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can we give the best hat at the tea party? They're going to get a bottle of champagne from me.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You'll be there, right?
I'm hoping I'll be there. So if I do, I'm gonna take the bottle of champagne there.
All right.
Present a gift and you're not gonna be there. Like
no, I want to try. I'm trying to.
And you know what? If she can't be, we still appreciate the gift.
Yes, I'll send the gift if I cannot be there.
Either way, we would love to have.
Okay, let's do the best dressed, right? Is it the best hat or the best dressed? Okay.
The best from the fascinator. So we're gonna have fascinator hats, hats and heels. But anyway, we'll be right back. We're gonna go on a commercial break.
Okay.
Do you run a nonprofit organization in the education, health, and human services sectors? Do you need grant funding for your organization? Or do you need help developing programs to help you raise money for your nonprofit organization? At Vibrant Funding, our mission is to connect our nonprofit partners in the education, health, and human services sectors to the financial resources required to achieve their mission. We support nonprofit organizations based in and operating in the United States and Africa. We offer the following services to new and established organizations: program development, donor engagement and retention, grants research and writing. Contact us at www.vibrant-funding.com or email us at info@vibrant-funding.com. Call us at 404-751-6802 to learn more about our services and how we can help you to have an impact on the world. Vibrant Funding, connecting donors and nonprofits.
All right, welcome back to welcome back to the Insaka Talk Show. Miss Irene was just letting us know that the best dressed lady is going to win a bottle of champagne, y'all. Not just any, it's Veuve Clicquot. In case you don't know this one, it's a good French wine, champagne. So please come dressed to the tea so you can walk away with a prize.
Anyway, need champagne to the way.
Don't worry, Mama.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right. So today we are going to talk about the power of a father's love. And it is Father's Day 2023. So welcome back to the Insaka Talk Show. We are excited to share with you this really interesting topic. So I'm going to start off by asking, what really, when we talk about a father's love, what does that really look like? Right? What does a father's love look? We understand love to be in so many ways. Love, as my teacher used to say back in Zambia, love is a verb. A verb is a doing word. in America, they say it's an action word, right?
Yeah.
So it's action. So what does a father's love look like? We can start with you, Dr. Musoma.
Wow, Nelly, putting me on the spot, but yeah. By the way, happy Father's Day to me. But anyway, what does a father's love look like? I think a father's love to me looks like protection. It looks like protection. You know, the feeling of safety.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's what a father's love looks like. It looks like protection.
Wow. That's powerful. Kezia, what does it mean to you, like, you know, when somebody says, hey, your father loves you, or do you love your father? What does that look like to you?
That's a good question. Well, a father's love to me looks like selflessness. And my dad shows that a lot, putting us before himself. So whether that's at dinner and somebody's hungry and dad has an extra piece of chicken, and sacrificing that, even though he's been at work all day, he'll give you that piece of chicken, even though he wants it, you know? Yeah. That's what father's love looks like to me. Or showing up, my dad works in Mexico, flying in just so he could see me or my brother play soccer. That's what a father's love looks like to me, putting us before himself.
Wow.
That's a good one.
That's amazing. You're really winning in this game. You're winning, man.
Seriously.
You're killing it.
Happy Father's Day to you ×2.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, a father's love is everything else that Henry said, as well as Kezia, but I will also add providing. Like, fathers are always, most of the times, they're always gone. But then there's that thin line between, do I stay with my family and not provide and spend time with them, or do I provide and give them? So it's kind of tough. So for me, it's providing and loving your family unconditionally, where you have to go out and work and make sure they have everything that they deserve. And as parents, I think we always want to do better than what our parents did for us.
Yeah, Irene?
That's beautiful. I just watched Little Mermaid, the new Little Mermaid. And to me, what I picked out of the movie itself, the father's love that he had for Ariel. You know, any father out there that hasn't watched this movie, go with your daughter so they can see, you know, the language of love that was between the dad and the daughter. There was protection, but there was a part where the father had to give up his powers in order for his daughter to find love. I thought that was powerful to me.
Yeah.
So he had to give up his powers completely, shattered, in order for the daughter to find love. So in a nutshell, a father will give up anything for their children to excel. Just like the example that Kezia said, my dad would fly all the way from where he's working just to come and watch us play soccer and then go back. That's a selfless act. That's what a father is.
Yeah, you have all really articulated it well. And honestly, I think to sum it all up is, what does love look like? Giving up that last piece of chicken, right, Kezia? Giving up that last piece of chicken. That's what fathers do. You know, they make sure you're fed and you are loved where you're being fed, and you're also protected from the elements out there. So, yeah, it's a good sums up of really what a father does. So, I think, speaking of love, on the opposite side though, right, for those children that have never experienced the love of a father, how do you think that that affects the growth of that human being if you've never had your father's love?
I think I can speak to that because I'm a single mom that I've raised a son without the father in the picture. So I know the struggles that he went through, the struggles of like, where's my dad? I want my dad. How come my friends have their dad when they come to school? They come with their dad. Those kind of questions. It's a challenge because you want to be very careful what you say to your child. You want to be careful in the sense that you don't want to say things bad about the father because you're angry at him, because you have to guard his heart. So you have to like tread carefully so that when you're teaching him things about life and telling him it doesn't matter whether your father is not in the picture, I will do whatever I can and learn from fathers out there, teach you the right things about manhood. And I did. And those struggles, I'm sure he's still struggling with those things. But at least now he's grown enough to understand himself and know that I'm an adult now. I can piece these things together to know why my father was absent. But I try to raise him without that picture of him filling the void.
And you're right, Irene. If there's a young man out there or a young lady that is watching and you've never really experienced the love of a father in your life, my advice is cling on to those men who are father figures in your life, the positive male figures who are there. It could be an uncle, it could be even an older brother in some cases. It could be somebody from church. Don't be so fixated on the fact that he's not my birth father, therefore he cannot feel this space that is empty, because you can't make somebody do what they don't want to do. If there's a father out there who doesn't want to be responsible and love their children, you can't make them. And if your mother, at least if you have one parent that is there for you and doing everything that they can, embrace that. And if they bring male figures in your life that are positive, embrace that and take advantage of that. And hopefully you'll get to someday be a father yourself and show your children the kind of love that you hoped that your father would show you.
True.
So, moving on, it's such a serious topic, fatherhood, right?
I know. It's like we're all so serious. I do have friends that do not have father, but that were not raised, never met their fathers, and there's always that void. Yes, you are close to your mother's side of the family, but then there's always that, like the English that you just wrote today. Like you just have these mannerisms or something that you do and you wonder, is this from my father or where did I pick that? So there's always that void.
Yeah.
Dr. Msoma, what do you have to say? You're mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry. You hear people say, even amongst us as men, sometimes we'll say, be careful to marry somebody who's got father issues. You hear that said a lot in society. And so the question I ask myself, what does that mean and what does that look like? And so Nelly, I like what you said earlier on about having people, seeking out people that, and God is generous. I think even in the moments where you don't have your biological parent, whether mother or father, there's always individuals that show up. And sometimes, Irene, it's not even, some of those individuals are invisible. Kezia, remember the guy that you like at your school, the custodian? And would you feel like he's a father figure in your life?
Yes.
Custodian? Talk about that.
Yes, I have a custodian at my middle school. His name was Mr. Kevin, and he did a great job of checking up on me, and when I'm in the hallways, making sure I'm okay. And I would consider that a father figure, somebody who's looking for your best interest, wanting the best for you. So I would consider him a father figure in a way. Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, on the flip side, right? Don't get so fixated on well, you're not my biological father. I don't have a biological father, either through rejection, sometimes it's through death, right?
Yeah.
There are some people that lose their biological fathers at a very young age, that they
Sure.
didn't have a chance to really build that relationship and connect. Um,
Mhm.
but if somebody presents themselves like Mr. Kevin, don't push them away
Yeah.
emotionally,
True.
because you feel like they will not ever feel that. And I don't think anyone will ever try to do that, because nobody can, right? The only thing they can do is come in wherever they can as best as they can.
Yeah.
Nelly,
Yeah.
I'd like to say something. Just Irene's story has really resonated with my heart. I'd like to say something to the single parents out there.
Mhm.
Is that even when homes are quote unquote complete, there's still struggle,
Yeah.
and I think sometimes we 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 tend to think that as a parent you have to meet your child on every, like check off every dot, that
Mhm.
we're almost in a hurry to say I have to do all this and this and before I
Yeah.
release them. But I'd say to the single parents out there to say, you know what, um, be comfortable in your inadequacies sometimes, if whatever inadequacies that you, you say to yourself, because there's always other people to complete the circle.
Mhm.
Even in my own life, I have had my biological father, right?
Mhm.
But I remember Uncle Eddie Chibulu in Kabwe, who taught me how to drive.
Mhm.
That was a father figure. The guy with my dad, he worked with my dad, and my dad said, Eddie, teach Henry how to drive, because my dad was busy, right? And Uncle Eddie would take me to this middle of nowhere, and then we'd go get his drinks and just let me to drive. So that's how I learned how to drive. So, but then, I mean, the lesson, I hope the police are not listening, but yes. So a shout out to single moms that it is okay. I think you don't have to meet every quote unquote requirement for your sons or for your daughters. I think the cycle of life has a way of
Mhm.
putting people in the cycle, on the circle of your children's lives.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very deep.
Yeah. So moving on to something a little bit, and we're going to be mixing it up. We don't want it to be too serious. We want to have some good times, and we want to have
Yeah.
some, reminiscent times as well. So with that in mind, I would like to ask, what weird quirk or trait do you think that you picked up from your father? Whether they're here or not. What do you think you picked up from your father? We'll start with you, Kezia.
I think a weird quirk that I picked up from my dad is, my dad likes to sing. If y'all didn't know, he probably sings on here. But he likes to adjust lyrics. If he doesn't hear music sometimes, so he'll make up words. So I think I started to pick that up. My siblings have realized that too. They're like, Kezia, you know what? You're like dad in that way. You like to say the wrong stuff when you sing. I'm like, I don't think so. But yes, my dad will make up little words in music, and you're like, is that right? That's something that I think I picked up.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Keza, which is my favorite line?
What? Excuse me?
My favorite fake line.
Your favorite fake line? Probably like from Frozen. Oh, but sure, like you'll just say weird words like gibberish. Just.
Would you like to sing for us?
Oh no.
Gibberish.
Shinga.
I saw. Speaking of bad lines, I'm off topic here, but I saw something on Facebook today that says, "Oh, does anybody remember the song from the '90s that used to go Informa?" And I just wrote gibberish after that. I was like,
What were the words though?
I don't know, but I used to say something like Informa, imbuzi karira itime. Everybody made up their own thing. I don't know. I still don't know what the lyrics are to this day.
Yep.
Priska, what do you think you picked up from your dad?
It's so weird. My dad was such a perfectionist, and I picked that up from him. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was such a perfectionist, and his thing was, and I'm slowly getting out of it. He hated to procrastinate. Like he always said, why put something away that you can do today for tomorrow? Just do it already. But I'm slowly just moving away from it. So yeah, that's weird.
Okay. That's a good one though. It's been helpful because you do
Sometimes
our P's and
We
Q's.
see it all over you. So now that you said Dad had that trait, I see
It
that.
works against me most of the times.
All we can say is, Mr. Chira, my brother, we are praying for you.
Irene, what about you? What do you think you picked up from your dad? And while you're at it, I'm gonna share a picture of your dad here. Go ahead, honey.
I think for me, it was more what I'm still doing, picking up people from the street and hovering them in my house. My dad was very known for that. Like we actually had before I say that, so that picture, my father owned safari companies. So that was in Budapest when he was, they used to go and get clients to bring them back to Zambia for the safaris. So he died from a buffalo attack. So like in the Bible, they say you die from what you like to do, however they phrase it in the Bible. But my dad was known for like anybody that's in distress. Vaisa kunganda. Anibachita Pelen kubwadi. Basamken bafwekene fakfala. Like give him something to eat, make sure he's comfortable, and then we'll figure out where he can go. That was my dad, and I do that all the time, and I catch myself and I said, Irene, stop it. Stop it right now. Just ask them what their name is, give them $10 and let them go. You can't do it. Because I remember we had a young man who was my brother's friend who didn't have anywhere to go, so he stayed with us in the house. He became so comfortable that he would tell us that, I'm going to tell Dad that you're doing this. So anyway, it was a good trait. I still love what I do because I think I see my dad in me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a funny story. We had a similar, my dad was similar, he would pick up people, and in the shop, he had a hardware store in Kabwe. So usually you would have people just come in and they're like, oh, hi, we just came to say hello. And dad is like, look at his mouth. He's hungry. Give him some sour milk and bread. But yeah, that's how they were, right? They had such a generosity, these parents. But I think one of the things that I picked up from my dad really, which I think has also been passed on to my son Manasseh, is the gift of socialization. Just socializing, my dad was a social butterfly. He could walk into, whenever he came to pick us up, we went to boarding school in Swaziland, and every time he came to school, pretty much all the teachers would leave their classes and go to the headmaster's office, and all you'd hear is you just have the women cackling, and everybody's just laughing. He would charm you into a conversation. But yeah, that's the kind of person that he is, and I think I would like to think I picked up a little bit of that from him.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a very good one.
What about you, Dr. Msoma? What did you pick up from Uncle?
So from my dad, I think the ability to manage your influence. Because leadership is about influence,
Yeah.
So without influence, you can't move people.
Yeah.
And so, Dad has a way of, it's almost like shifting himself. Like if he's hanging out with a certain, like right now he plays with the Buomba. And Keze, you know about Shula and the Buomba, right?
Yeah.
You've been to church and seen Shula do Buomba. What does it look like, Keze?
Oh my goodness, the outfits.
I had a picture of him dressed up in the Womba. I wish I could find it, but yeah, I know it's beautiful. Womba, for those
What is that?
The Catholic Church has. Okay, go ahead and explain it. I may not explain it well.
So Mwamba was the traditional way of worshiping in the Catholic Church, and very in terms of the Bembas, very traditional. It brings in some of the royal type of things. So when Dad comes in the church, he comes with an axe and he's doing this and he's doing this and all that, and then my mom would be like, "Oh, boy, did you get it?" You know. And but then guess what? In that, I have seen him just be in all levels of social strata. You know what I mean? And so and economic strata. And so managing your influence and realizing that you don't have to wear it all the time. You know, in Bemba they say if you want to get something from a chicken, you have to come quietly. You know, I think that's what.
Yeah.
Thank you for. Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly how to say it. Missionary.
We'll be here the whole night.
On a different level.
Yeah, when it comes to Proverbs, he's the goat.
Yeah, so that's for my dad, managing influence.
That's nice.
Good one.
That's fantastic. And speaking of Henry's dad, I didn't tell him I was going to share this. He's actually written a book, you know, the village boy who dared to dream. You can find it on Amazon actually by Henry Kanyanta Musoma. Is the writer, and it's a story of hope and grit. It's a really beautiful story. If you have, go ahead and look for it. If you want to get it, read about how he came from a village setting all the way up to Harvard, and you know, the man has been there. He's been up there. But I think
ladies, how about, except for Dr. Musoma, we purchase those books and give them to the fathers on the show?
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Krista. That's a very good one. Yeah.
I'm sure you have a copy already.
Yeah, Nelly has a copy.
I have a copy.
I'm getting a copy.
You have copies that we can, so we can purchase
yeah.
We can give to Mazaila, Victor,
Pastor Ernest.
Pastor Ernest. Yeah. Clement is not a dad yet.
Okay.
So happy Father's Day.
Thanks, Kristen. Thanks for supporting that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, let me see. So what question would you love to ask your dad if your dad was here? Kezia, and you're here, you can ask him if you want to. But we'll start with Priska. Well, what question would you love to? I know your dad is not here. He's not with us. What would you love to ask him if you had a chance?
As a parent, I know the sacrifices that I make for my children. And I say my children, have bonus children and one biological child. I would love to know the sacrifices that he made for me. And I remember the last conversation that I had with my dad before he passed on. I was pregnant with my daughter. That's why her name is Zoe. I was so tired, and I was like, Dad, I'm so tired. I want to come back to Africa. And he told me, no, stay. Out of all my children, you're the one that I'm very proud of the most. And I can't. Can somebody...
Okay, take your time.
Sorry.
Take your time.
So just the sacrifices, like, I feel like I'm so blessed. When my dad passed on, he blessed me. And he said, out of all my children, just stay where you are and everything's going to be okay. And the day that my dad passed, Zoe kicked in my stomach so much that I knew that, for some reason, I knew that my dad passed on. But ever since Zoe was born, like, for some reason, every July, something amazing happens in my life. Like, just a blessing or a miracle happens. So what I would love to ask him is the sacrifices that he made for me as a child, when I was as a child, compared to the sacrifices that I make for my child and my bonus children. So what were your sacrifices?
Wow.
And I'm a better parent than he was, or is he proud of me?
I'm sure he is.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's yeah,
It's
yeah,
okay.
it's understandable. It's understandable. Irene?
I think it's more. We were 10 of us in the family, and my question to him will be, "How did you do this?" I
I
only
know.
have one child, and I struggle. You know, I struggle with starting from information that I have to give to my child, support system in terms of knowledge,
Hmm.
um, direction, how to love a woman, how to love friends, how to love all these things. I don't know how my father did it. With
Hmm.
10 kids, he did not break not even one. We had a good life and we traveled and we did everything together. But now though I've picked up from him, like I
Hmm.
eat with my son every night.
Hmm.
Every night we have dinner together. It doesn't matter what time it is. So, but the rest of the things I struggle. I would want to ask him that question. Was there a trick? Was there a gimmick? Or is just you just have to live life
Hmm.
like fatherhood has no manual,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which it doesn't.
No.
Hmm. Kezia, is there a question you would love to ask your dad? Which he's right there.
I think a question would be: has there been a certain event in your life or a certain moment that has shaped you to be the way that you are today?
That's a good
Wow,
one.
that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Do I have to answer it, or it's just a question that's being
Yes, you
left out
have
there?
to answer. You have to
It's
answer.
your question, Daddy dearest.
Mm.
Yeah, what moment shaped you? Hmm?
So I am one of those people who I don't subscribe to a moment. I subscribe to just perpetual moments.
Oh, I see.
And so, Kezi, I think it's the HIV deaths growing up
Hmm.
back home. A lot of people died of AIDS that I loved,
Yeah.
and going to funerals or hearing people wailing. Because in Zambia, when people die, there's wailing,
Yeah.
and that wailing digs in your
Yeah.
soul. I don't think
Yeah.
Hmm.
we understand, and I think the moment that I lost Auntie Anne, which was my dad's sister, and Uncle Bon, which was my aunt's husband, it got so close
Hmm.
Mm.
that I panicked, and I was in 11th grade. I really panicked. I thought, this is it. Our family's all just gonna disappear.
Yeah.
And in that season, I made some major decisions that I'll talk to you about one in the future. But that the decisions that have shaped the way I've lived,
Mm-hmm.
and in both good and bad. So every good thing has a possible dark side. And
Sure.
so Keza, to me, I don't think it was just one moment. It was just these little bits pieces of moments, and then they have themes though. So I think for me, the biggest theme in my life at about your age was HIV. People dying from that disease, that wretched disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank God there's researchers that turn that thing around. Right, guys, we're living in a different Zambia than we did when we were
Oh,
growing up, when people were
absolutely. You're
Oh yeah.
dying
right.
every day.
You're right.
So, yeah. Wow, kids, don't ask such questions, okay?
Deep, girl, deep. So what would you ask your dad if given a chance? And I know you're close and you talk pretty much almost every day.
Mhm. My dad. I think I'd like to ask him about his first love, if he had one.
Mm.
Hmm.
You
That's
know,
interesting.
because I'd love to have that open conversation and say, Dad, if
Hmm.
if your heart was ever broken, what was that like?
Oh,
Hmm.
And Nelly, the reason why I share that is I have a friend of mine whose father died, and he
Hmm.
was going through his father's stuff. His dad had a very successful career, great marriage, was an engineer. But when the father died, my friend found a picture of a lady in his father's drawer
oh,
that his father never threw away. And
Hmm.
this picture was of a woman who his father loved when he was younger, but the family rejected him because they were poor. And the
Hmm.
father never ever threw that picture away.
oh, wow.
And so I think that probably happens more than we realize.
Yeah.
And so maybe so in asking that question, I'd say, Dad, was there things that were hard for you to let go, and how did you let go? So it's not just about love.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
And Nelly, you know what Dad would say? I am a question watampo. So.
Yeah, you throw a question with a question.
What about you, Nelly?
Yeah, for me, I think I would ask, at what age should a dad stop giving the girl child a bath?
You did not answer the question.
Well, we have to pivot in the interest of time. We have.
Oh, Nelly, I thought that was going to be a question to your dad. I'm like, hey.
It's a good question to ask, but I'm also posing it here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is an appropriate age for a father to stop giving the girl child a bath?
I don't know if there's an age. Like I shared the other day with you guys. I have a friend who has a child, a daughter. When she was born, she refused for her husband to change the diaper, and I thought that was cruel because they were both first parents, and she just told me straight, point blank. She said, "Irene, I don't trust the system. You find a lot of children that are hurt. They're hurt by somebody they are close to. It can be the father, it can be the uncle or the brother. I don't want to go through, like sleepless night thinking about that. So I just explained to him, you're a father, you cannot be doing this thing. Let me do it." And it worked. He wasn't offended, but I'm sure some other men would be offended. So in that question, I don't think there's an answer to that for me. I don't know. I wouldn't allow anyone to do that for me, for my daughter either.
I disagree, because it's if I have to be if I'm with you and I distrust you that much, then I shouldn't be with you. That's just my rationality. If I distrust you that much, we shouldn't be together. Because I think, like you said, they're both first-time parents. Maybe he was looking forward to that experience of having to change a diaper, and then you take that away from the person because of maybe your previous experiences. Sounds like maybe some therapy was needed here. Yeah, I think maybe some therapy was needed in both situations. But yeah, I think as regards to giving a bath, honestly, maybe I would say by the age of 3, 4, and girls mature more quickly. I feel like girls get more independent quickly. Like, I can do that, they
by the age of 5, they don't want to be bothered
themselves, and they want to bath themselves, and even though they're doing it halfway. But I think for boys, it takes longer. A little bit longer. But yeah, I think for me, my experience has been like the girl child for me was quicker to mature, out of diapers before she was 2 years old, completely potty trained and everything. So yeah. Priska?
I will agree with you.
Uncomfortable conversation much?
I feel like 5.
Mm-hmm.
At the age of 5, I feel like a father should stop giving baths to a girl.
Yeah, I feel like at the age where they start asking, like, what is that? Like, you go and pee. I remember a time when my daughter would go and try to check when the father was peeing, and she's like, try, because when she's in the bathroom, she used to follow me everywhere, right? So when I'm in the bathroom, I'm sitting down. When he's, peeing, he's standing up, and she's like, he's like, no, she's trying to see. So when that curiosity starts to set in, I think that may be a sign that, you know what, it's time to curb.
Need to stop. Yeah.
It's time to curb.
So I'd like to say something to this. I think So when Irene said what she said, and then your response was, I disagree. So I'm gonna take our conversation back to that point. I don't think we should disagree or agree to anything with such a conversation. I think we should be open to the fact that life circumstances are challenging for everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe, Nelly, we're talking to somebody who's got a quadriplegic child, and then there's weight involved and all those things, and the child is growing. Then it's a team effort where the father and mother maybe have to be there for that individual, so, but I know it has to be early. So I agree with what you all are saying. In fact, my mother, when she visited once here, she was, very clear to me. She said, and I remember it was, earlier on, with Kezia and Olivia. My mom was very clear on that. It was something she very specifically said. I don't think I was even doing it at that point, but she just was asking, do you bathe them? I said, no, at this point. She says, that's a preview of the ladies. I think this is a deeply personal conversation in terms of what we're talking about, and different viewers have different experiences. Maybe a situation where the wife maybe is strung out on drugs. There's a father there who's having to do things where it's not by choice but by circumstance. So that's why I said what I said.
And you're right? There are different circumstances that surround everybody's situation, right? We can't assume that every home has two happily married people that are raising one child together. It could be one way or the other, right? So assumptions aside, you're right. Every situation is unique, and every home have their own rules based on the circumstances that have governed, the way they live up to where they are. So
that's true.
Yeah, to each his own. So I did promise you that it was going to be some deep discussions and it's going to be some light moments. So
that was deep.
No, I'm done with this deepness.
Some of us are even quiet.
Okay. All right. So would you say that your dad is a traveler or a homebody? I think we're already
easy, Kezia.
That's an easy one.
This is my dad's most definitely a traveler, hands down.
Yeah.
He loves to travel. He likes just to stay active, even if that means walking or riding a bike. But my dad is definitely not one to just sit on the couch all day and watch TV or just be at the house. He's definitely out doing stuff. Yes.
Tell us about the last thing that you did with your dad, the last travel that you guys had with your dad.
So it was Christmas, right, Dad? That was the last one, I believe. Yes, we went to Chicago, we went to Canada, and we went to New York on a road trip.
Oh, wow.
And it was so fun. The weather was crazy, but it was a blast. We went to Chicago. We got to walk around. We got deep dish pizza, which was delicious. We went to art museum. And in Canada, we got to stay in a hotel near the Niagara Falls, right? Niagara, yes. Oh, nice. And my dad had actually reserved a room, and there was supposed to be fireworks, but it didn't end up working out. But we had an amazing view. We could see like the border. It was a great experience. Canada was great. We got to be in a rental. We hung out. We played a lot of Monopoly, watched movies. It was a great holiday. Yes.
Kezia, you said Canada was great. You should have said Chicago was great too.
That was awesome. Okay, so Irene, I know you did some travels with your dad as well. What are some of the most memorable? I guess
my dad loved adventure. He was very adventurous. He actually knew most of this, those statues that are in like different towns. I don't know how he knew. When every time he took a road trip, we get to Kaoma, he goes into a small little road. Dad, where are we going? Just a manokuli driver. That's how I used to say. We'll go and then we'll find this big statue, and then he will take us out of the car. All of us go and read that.
Nice.
What is this? And then we'll read the whole thing. And then now on the way, when we're now going out of town, he'll start asking us, what did you learn about what you read? Then we'll start picking something. Oh, there was a white man who came through this town, and he said, what was his name? Nalaba. Then the other one would say the name. So it was exciting. By the time you look up, you're in another town.
Definitely.
So it's very interesting. Yeah. We traveled the whole of Zambia. We lived in Chipata. We lived in Mpika, Mporokoso, Kasama, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya. So we were just doing those things. We were hobos.
That's great. That's such a good memory. Priska, what would you say? Was your dad a traveler or a homebody?
My dad was definitely a homebody.
Mm.
He loved to stay at home, watch TV, dinner with family, like just a family man.
I think that's one of the things you got from him.
Yes.
You're such a homebody.
I would stay in the house for a week and not even bother to go out. I love to stay home.
So we say you're your father's daughter.
I am. Except for my mouth. My dad was not very mouthy. He was very quiet.
That was probably from your mom.
Definitely from her. Yes.
What about you, Dr. Nsoma? What would you say?
Traveler. In fact, we even had a nickname for my dad. Vafialo Fialo. Because Vafialo means like what? World?
Yeah.
World. Yeah.
Mr. World.
That would be a great name for you between Mexico and here.
Yeah, I think that's in my DNA.
Yeah. Yeah, same for me. My dad was a traveler. You know, he just had these spontaneous moments where he's like, "Hey, let's go pick a masuku kapirisaidu."
Yes.
And yeah, like literally, he would do things like, "Let's go pick wild fruits." He's like, "Oh yeah, you guys, you've been watching TV too much. Let's get out the house. Let's get in the car and go pick some wild fruit."
Yeah.
So he would do stuff like that, and
But that's you too.
yeah, very spontaneous. I don't like staying in one place. I feel like I'm getting sick. I need to travel from time to time. So, you know, it's been a really interesting conversation. We've talked about the power of a father's love in a child's life, and what that looks like, and we've explored like different things about our fathers. And before we end, I need to share a picture of my dad. Most people say I look like him, but that's my dad.
You do.
You do look like him.
It looks like Manasseh too.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And my dad loved music, so when
he does look like Manasseh a lot.
Yeah, and that's me sitting there next to him, and then that's my little sister. Well, not so little anymore, Ruth. And he also had a record. They were called the Kakumba Singers.
What?
Yeah, and I need to put that on YouTube so that people can enjoy that, share it with the world. But so far, I'm the one with the last remaining record. It's in my office.
Oh my God, that is.
Wait, your dad used to be on that band?
Yes, the Kakumba.
That's the reason why you like Kalindula, you.
No, it's gospel actually. It's
but you like to my old songs, and then when you started, and I'm the only one who like chimes in for some reason. I don't know how I know these things, man.
Yeah. So we have just a minute left. Within a minute or less, could each one of you please tell us, you know, what are your last words for your dad? What would you like your dad to know? And any message for dads out there? We'll start with you, Kezia.
Okay, my message would be, we appreciate you. We see what you're doing. Sometimes you might feel like, oh, nobody's noticing those small things, or you're sacrificing a lot, but we acknowledge that and we appreciate it personally. So
That's a good one.
Yeah. And you, father, what would you say to your dad? What message do you have for Mr. Musoma?
I am who I am because you are who you are.
Oh, nice.
Good one.
Good one.
Priska?
Well, happy Father's Day to all the dads and the moms that are doing the dad's job, like yourself, Irene. And my husband is an amazing dad. I do not have a father, but happy Father's Day to him. He's an amazing dad. We appreciate him. I'm like his daughter now too, so he has 4 daughters. Appreciate you. Keep on doing what you're doing. And those of you that do not have fathers, like Nelly said, hang on to those father figures. It's not really somebody that your birth father that's really father. If there's somebody in your life that takes up that role, appreciate them. With that being said, enjoy your day, fathers.
Irene?
Happy Father's Day to all you fathers. My advice to fathers, don't always think to hang out with your children it's about spending money. If you walk to the playground, sit with them and listen to them. Just talk about small talk. So what do you like about school? What do you want to be when you grow up? Who's your motivation inspirational person in your life? Things like that. Or are you dating somebody? Or describe a nice woman to me? Little things that you would want to know about your child. Not teaching your man because if I say something, my dad is gonna say so. That's how you don't know your children. A lot of people knew their children during the pandemic. Because they were forced to stay in the house together. Then they found all these mistakes about their children, or vice versa. Try and know them now, so that they can appreciate you even when you're gone.
Nelly, I know you're closing. I wanted to say something to women that keep their children away from their fathers.
Yeah.
Get child support, get the money, but when the man wants to see their children, you keep them away. It's not every man that do not have children in their lives wants to stay away from their children. So women, you need to stop it. You're not punishing that man. What you're doing is you're punishing your children. You're taking that love away from your children. There's nothing like your father's love. So you need to stop. Taking the child support money and then not letting these men see their children. They're genuinely men that want to spend time with their children and see their children. And when those kids grow up and ask you why the father was not in their lives, you tell them something else and they are mad they don't have a relationship with their father. So let's just stop it.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one, Priska, and I'm glad you touched on that. If you're a father who is showing up for your children, keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
If you've identified a child out there who is in need of a father figure and you have the ability to do so, please step up and help out. We appreciate all fathers out there, living and not living. Keep doing what you're doing. God bless you. And before we finish out, the song of the week this week is Dance with My Father by Luther Vandross. And the movie of the week is Daddy's Little Girls. It's on Netflix. So hope you enjoy this Father's Day and may God bless you. Thank you for being with the Insaka Talk Show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Happy Father's Day, y'all.